Good morning. My name is Rob Palmer, and I'm with the Potts firm. My specific office is here in Springfield, Missouri, though the headquarters for Potts is in Houston, Texas. Today, we're going to talk about several different areas of crashworthiness that might be of interest to you. Crashworthiness is the whole concept that you get an injury that's much more serious than one would expect given the violence in an accident. We refer to this as an enhanced injury. This could be a death where no one should have died, or quadriplegia, brain damage, where there shouldn't have been any of those types of serious injuries. And now we're going to talk about what to look for in some of these cases. By the way, if I don't mention it until later, it's always important to preserve the vehicle. I cannot tell you how often I get calls from folks who've been hurt, who for some reason have allowed the vehicle to be destroyed or tampered with. So it's very critical that you preserve the vehicle. Now, today, like I mentioned, we're going to talk about several different kinds of defects. The first being the cab over engine. These noses, trucks known as flat noses, cab forward or cab over. And you can see the two photographs on the right. Now, these aren't as common configuration of trucks today as they were in the past. But you do see them in delivery vehicles all the time. So they're still out there. They just don't make over-the-road trucks like you see here in this photograph with the flat nose or cab over design like they used to back in the 1950s and 60s. Here's what happens, though, to the occupant of the truck when they get hit. There's no structure in front of them, and it goes, the intruding vehicle or object goes almost right into the cab. And this is a death case you can see here. What hits in the front, very survivable if there had been a regular semi-tractor. Here's another one, and you can see the seat in the upper right is just all crushed. This individual had very severe lower limb injuries, very tragic lower limb injuries. Now here is a crash test. I'm going to show you two back to back, and you can see what happens and how deeply it penetrates into the cab. And of course, this occupant gets severely injured. Obviously, it's a dummy in this case. But here is the inside of that vehicle that you just saw. Now look what the steering wheel does to this person. It almost cuts him in half, not to mention his legs would have been crushed. I doubt very seriously in this rather modest, only 30-mile-an-hour collision, the occupant would have survived. Now, there's also the whole issue with semi-tractor trailer trucks of underride. Bull bars, cow catchers are the way to prevent this. And as you can see overseas, they actually do, the same truck is sold here in the United States without a cow catcher, where they are sold overseas with them. And you can see the design of the cow catcher on the lower right of your screen. If you look over here on the left, you'll see that in most of the world, these cow catchers are required. They prevent the underride of a truck or a car underneath the semi-tractor trailer truck, which of course is devastating when it occurs. Here's a classic example of a case I did up in Iowa. There's no cow catcher on the semi to your left, and it literally overrode this little small Ford and killed two of the occupants and seriously injured the driver. These things happen every day on our highways. There's also the whole issue of side underride protection. More and more vehicles are putting guards, such as you see on your left, on their trailers to prevent underrides like you see on your right. In Europe, this is standard, but here in the United States, it's not so standard. In fact, you don't see it very much, like I said, in the States. Another issue is the fuel-fed fire situation with semi-tractor trailer trucks. As you can see, the gas tank there on the upper left is right underneath the cab. And when it gets hit, as in the Shaver vehicle upper right, it explodes, and it explodes directly into the cab. So the driver has very little option of time to escape. One of the most interesting developments in this whole area is that they are now putting escape hatches, such as you see on your left, on the top, and in some cases on the floor of the vehicle in case it's on its side, so the driver can get out quickly. There also is an alternative design for the fuel tank where you move it rearward. So if it does catch fire, it's diesel, of course, which does not light as easily as gasoline. It gives the driver much more opportunity to escape unharmed. This is an option with most modern semi-tractor trailer trucks. Now, let me jump back here. The roof standard 216 that we all hear about, roof crush, doesn't apply to semi-tractor trailer trucks, which is really a tragedy because many drivers and passengers of semi-tractor trailer trucks die each year because these bodies of these semi-tractor trailer tractors are made out of fiberglass and they crush really easily, as you can see in these two photographs. Here's another example, just totally crushed down. Driver died in this particular case. Here's some more examples, just crushed. There's just no resistance because fiberglass obviously gives up much more easily than steel. Now, if you have one of these types of cases, make sure, as I mentioned earlier, you preserve the vehicle. Do not remove anything from the vehicle. Don't let anyone touch the vehicle. Preserve it. Do not accept any offers of settlement until a products case has been entirely ruled out. Because if you do that, let's say there was someone else is at fault and you take that money, then you'll force the case into federal court. And these cases are not as good in federal court as they are in state court. And I could give a whole lecture on why that's true. Take as many photographs of the vehicle from all different perspectives, inside, outside, and around. When you get the chance, then call POTS, and either Eric Jensen or myself will be glad to help you. And you need to, above all, do all of this well before the statute runs. I want to thank you very much for your time today. I hope you learned something that might be of interest to you. Thank you.